Oh. Hello. All right. Okay then. Oh, there's loads of people on already. Excellent. Good. I'm going to just give it a couple of minutes, let more people come on. It's not quite 1:30 yet anyway, before we crack on and tell you all everything that's going on. So, hola, Dime Bar. Cool. All right. And Taylor, hey. Good. All right. If you can hear me, just give me a thumbs up in the comments or anything like that, just so I know what's going on. Yeah, cool. Got it. Okay. Brilliant. Hi, Beverly. And he finally got here to alive. Excellent. Okay. That's what I like to hear. Yeah. Pipe and slippers. Ooh, loads of comments coming in. Loud and clear. Excellent. Good to hear it. Just going to give it a minute or so. All right, as obviously as well. I mean, there's 55 on, 57 going up. But I'm just going to leave it a couple of minutes just to let more people come on. I've been bitten by a mosquito or something. Ankles itching like mad. Cool, very good, loud and clear. All right. Okay, flying up, 60 on now. Like I say, I'm just going to give it a minute or so, let it settle in, get people on, and then we'll crack on with what we've got to do and what news we've got concerning everybody. Yes, yeah, you're very welcome. It's good to have people on. Oh, I've got my little baby here. Hello. Do you want to come on camera? Do you want to come and say hello? Let's come and say hello. Come and say hello. We're going to come and say hello. There we go. Let's say hello on camera. Hello. There we are. This is our Spanish Podenco. Right. Little Mia. Found her in a plastic box. Just dumped at the side of the road with 3 brand new little babies. We're going to let you go now. I don't think she's keen on being on the camera. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and she had 3 little babies, so I took them back home into the car. I put them in the car, took them back home, and we kept her obviously, and I got all the 3 little boys, 3 little boys. But we'll not talk about the singer of that song, shall we? But we've got all them homes, and then brought her back to England with the others, 4 of them in a car. And me and Janine, and everything that we owned, all shoved into the car and drove. 3 days it took me. It was a nightmare. But not to worry. Happy Friday. Okay. Oh, well, there's nearly 90 on there. All right. So listen, I've just had a message from Jamie. He apologizes. He just says that this has had a family emergency. He's just had to shoot off. Okay. So he sends all his love and hugs and everything. And he'll make it up to you. We'll try and get on another one next week sometime. He's going to get me the date for that. But what I'm going to do then, I'm just going to go over some dates and everything that's happening. Going to go over some information that we've got, some things that we've got planned, some good stuff happening. Okay, so make it still be like a good evening for you, a good informational show for you. Okay, so I'll just move the camera a little bit. Going to come up and go over some dates and stuff that's happening. What, coming up 97 on there now? Brilliant. Okay. Watching from Doncaster. I love Doncaster. I used to go to Doncaster regularly to do martial arts events and everything down there. I loved it. All right, so we've got stuff coming up now this weekend. All right, I'm going down to Birmingham tomorrow. I'm going to travel down, and on Sunday the 1st of May, and it's sold out. So if you haven't got a ticket, then you know, there's nothing I can do about it. I didn't organise the event, but that's sold out on a Sunday. So I'm going to hopefully do a good show for everybody down there. Wednesday just passed. I was in Middlesbrough. Did a show for people in there, and it was great. It says, "Oh, come down to my pub, do an event in the pub." I thought, "Oh yeah, I'll come to your pub." Didn't tell me he didn't have a license, so it was an unlicensed pub. But anyway, it was good. It was good. We had a great event. Some lovely people in there. So the next day, after that Monday, the 2nd of May, I'm still in Birmingham, so I'm going to stay there overnight. And then we're actually doing a big meeting there, and there's lots of different people, and it's what they're doing is they're showing people how to grow food, how to do like education on the opposite side of the legal system. We don't want to be in the legal, we want to be in the lawful, right? So we're swapping out for the legal for the lawful. So what I'm going to be helping them to explain things on how to do it in the private, how to grow and stay in the private, be it, right, growing your own food, okay, teaching, you're properly, you're actually educating your kids, all right, your sons and your daughters away from this horrible institution of indoctrination, and also private trusts, extremely important, and PMAs, private members associations, okay? So that's vitally important on how everyone can protect themselves. All of you, it's not just about this meeting, it's just these people are going to be spreading the word. There's community groups that are coming together for a meeting from all over the country, and you know, everyone's going to be like giving little bits, I think, anyway. I don't know, I think I've got half an hour where I can like explain how you know, they can help themselves by going into the private and running these private members associations. You got to remember, okay, you don't want to be a limited company, you don't want to be you know, in the statute side of things, because if you're going into acts and statutes, you have to obey the acts and statutes, and that's fair, right? If you're gonna like hang on a second. Oh, it's all right. I thought the dog was scratching at the door to get out, but it's the dog coming in. That's Janine, she's gonna slap me. All right, so the you know, what we do is you want to be setting like these events, whatever they be, under a PMA, a private members association, exactly like the bar association, right? It's a private association. It's like these clubs that you're going down, all these posh fools that go out into these men-only clubs in London, and it's like, you know, 30,000 a year just to join, right? Well, how can it be members only? That's against discrimination acts and statutes, because it doesn't count, because it's a private members association, these private clubs, okay? So that's what I'm going to help them with. So this is what's happening over this weekend. All right, so if you are going down, I'll see you there. Come and say hello. All right, now I've done this back to front, so we'll start off at the bottom. So on May the 25th, I'm going to be just down the road there in Newcastle. We're doing like a talk for people down there, presentation. And then into June, on the June the 18th, I'm in Stafford. Okay, so that's you'll have to try and check up with that. It's apparently it's not massive of like venue or anything. So you know, if you're around that area, let me know and I'll pass you the details of who's organising it. So what I'm going to try and do, obviously looking in advance, I'm going to try and organise another event for early July, and then late July. Split the month into the two. Do one early and one late, and then do a couple of events in there. So if anybody like wants the, you know, the me to pop down and like do an event, like, you know, do a show for anybody there, just let me know. We'll work together and we'll sort out like some venues and everything wherever you want me to go. So I'm looking at doing one early July and then late July, and then obviously we're going to look into August as well. Okay, so that's what we're looking to do. All right, now today I think I did it yesterday, but today there's the other dog as well, the big one. Can't pick her up though because she's too old. All right, did a show yesterday, but I think he's put out today the Mark Atwood show on YouTube. Can't remember what he calls it now, but it's Mark Atwood, so go and check him out. All right, so I think it's only just come out this afternoon. He's put it up there. So go and check his channel out. It's a great channel. He's a great guy, and you know I'm on there and obviously going over stuff. And what we're gonna do, I'm doing it with Mark. I'm gonna release this lawful handbook. Okay, so literally what it'll be. All right, I'll just grab them here for you, wherever I have put them. All right. Can't find them now. We had done, you know, I did the video the other week, and I had that PDF which had all of these case laws in and sentences to actually use, like, you know, in these situations with, like, you know, the clowns and costumes and the bailiffs or whatever situations that you're in. And it's all about being lawful, all right, all about working with the law, but also the acts and statutes. You know, and it's been a strange week with a lot of strange people having some funny comments about, you know, not that I couldn't care less, but, you know, like all these, like, you know, wasters that don't want to pay for things. All we're doing is being in the law. All we're doing is using the acts and statutes to know our rights. That's all it is. That doesn't make you a bad person. Tell you what it is, a bad person. And that's what I mean, because I'm going to go on about person a lot today. Right, knowing your rights is far better than not knowing your rights, and knowing what's going on is obviously where we want to be. We don't want to be in a situation where we're being abused because we don't know our rights, and it's happening all the time. Okay, so I'm going to bring out this handbook, and literally it's only going to be, I don't know, maybe not as thick as this, but maybe about like that size, you know, so you can hold it and literally go out and pick up the a sentence and having it mark it, have your bookmark in. All right, it's my bedtime reading. How to do trusts. Everything's all about trusts, so I'm always studying trusts. So, you know, whatever's happening, you can put, if you got stopped by the police in the car or anything, how to talk to them, how to act, what to say, what not to say. All right, so we're going to knock out, it's going to be about a tenner or something like that, you know, and just how Mark's going to handle it. I'm going to write it, and then he's going to sort it all out, and then we're going to sort it out. So it'll be a lawful handbook, phrase and case law to protect a man or woman, okay, in emergency situations. So what we'll be doing is like joinder, how not to give them joinder, okay, if you're getting given cautions, or how you can caution them, all right, and how to deal with the bailiffs, knowing your rights, because they all work on the presumption that you know nothing. That's the thing. So they're going to go in there, all right, and like presume that like they can just literally railroad you and bully you and abuse you because you don't know what your rights are. I'm going to go over a couple of things tonight, explaining your rights and explaining the private trust thing. And I'm going to show you what I've set up and how I've actually done this for myself, and why you should do this as well. Everybody needs to be in the private, okay? And then everybody needs to actually have a private trust. All right, someone's just come up. Where is it? Chris? Yeah, nice to see you on there, Chris. It was a great evening. That was Chris, who was his pub, the Porky Pint, it was called, the Porky Pint in Middlesbrough. And he's uploaded it to Rumble. So if you let us know what the channel is or how we can find that or whatever, Chris, and I'll tell everybody on here now as well. Okay. All right. So this is what we're doing. And this whole handbook there about knowing your rights. Okay. So Mark's going to help. He wants to launch it. So he's going to like do it through his show. And obviously I'll put it out through my show. It'd just be really handy just to have like onto there. And then you can actually, you know, have that book in your hand if you have to actually deal in any of those situations, okay? Now, what we're talking about, hang on, thirsty. On everything, steps to protect us as a man and woman, looking after yourself, okay? So the very first thing that we're going to do is you're going to correct your status or however it is you actually want to call it, all right? So what we have to do is we have to remember a couple of things, and it's like about dipping in and out of the private. Now, I've done a lot of courses, like spoke with a lot of like really clever people that have been doing this for many, many, many years. And you definitely can control things and dip in and out of the private. So we want to put ourselves in the private by correcting our status, allowing them, well, it is, I suppose, but telling them, right, with a lawful notice and demand. So we're demanding our living man, living woman status, not under the person. So I don't know if anybody follows Robert Observation Deck. If not, go on, do it, because it's great information anyway, and a lovely guy. And he's just put this thing out where today, I think it was, I watched it while I was doing my emails, listening to him, and about like the person. That's why I mentioned it before. Okay. And these acts, and it's all government websites, by the way. You know, this is where I've got a lot of my stuff from. It's all government websites. It's not like we're making things up. You know, this is how they've wrote it in their books, in the government website, gov.uk. Right. So it's not us saying it. It is really like them. So, but what they're saying on the government websites, it describes what a person is. Now, I've used loads of times, you know, Black's Law Dictionary, Bouvier's dictionary, on their description of a person. But this is good. I haven't got the links on here, but I will put them on the final link when I actually copy this and it goes up, what do you call it, on YouTube and everything. I'll put the links in. And it shows on the government website where it says what a person is. And a person is like a corporate body. I'm not on about a body, you know what I mean, a group of like limited stuff. And it says, and this is the government website, not us, not even the Law Dictionary saying it's a corporation, though it does, right? It's on the government website. What is a person? It is a corporate body of like a council. Horrible. So I'm not a council and I'm not a corporate body, and neither are you. So you can actually declare that you are not a person. And acts and statutes, read them all on the acts and statutes. A person is the only thing that a person or persons, any person or persons doing this, doing that, any person or persons doing that will be liable to this and that. All right. They're all talking about a corporate body. It's all legalese. They're very clever, you know. They've been doing this for many years and trying to fool or have been fooling us. Okay. But like we say, let's go back. So remember, when we're declaring correcting our status, I'm going to realign a couple of the lines in the L&D for the future. But I mean, it makes no difference if you've already done it. You're perfect. You're good to go. All right. On the lawful notice and demand, we tell them we are not a person. We are living. And under the Set of KV Act, you've actually said it on the government website. We've got after 7 years. If we haven't told you, then we're dead. We're not dead, we're alive. Thank you very much. That's what that does. It corrects your status, okay? All right, the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to go and create, all right, a private trust. We'll explain a little bit about that in a minute. I've got another sheet that will show you, and I've got all my trust paperwork right there. I've done all the postal mechanics. I've done the expression that will go on to the newspapers, as well as on using the post office stamps and everything. So that is, if anyone was ever to challenge my property that's in the actual trust, then obviously I've got all the paperwork to prove that we have a trust created and that it's set up correctly and it all follows the trust laws, and they are laws, okay? So set up your private trust. Once you've done that, that's you becoming private and acting in the private. All right. A lot of it is about mindset and how you act and how you deal with these people that believe that they're above you and are obviously not, because they're public servants, so they're well below you. Then creating the private trust, which I'm going to show you, like I said, the documents, etc., in a second. And then as soon as you've done that, step 3 is going to do a lasting power of attorney. This is public. This is private, this is private, this is public. But we can go in and out, private, public. This is really important. I keep telling people to do this all the time. You should be doing this with your L&D. As soon as you've done this, you know, and then set your private trust up and do this. So there's 2 parts of this. There's the health and wellness, and there's the property and finance. So you need to do both of them if you can afford it. You have to pay the government, nothing to do with me, and you actually have to do it through the Office of the Public Guardian. So you go into Google or search engine, put Office of the Public Guardian, power of attorney, you'll get into the actual website, and you have to fill it in, right, or on the website, and then download it and fill it in, and then print it all up. It has to be signed very carefully, very specifically, in the correct order. Read all of the instructions. Make sure you do it right. But it's vitally important, especially nowadays, before we're allowed, that meeting that we're doing, we want to set up like an alternative health system, an alternative schooling system for our sons and daughters, an alternative food source, because we know what they're trying to do with the food shortages, hiking up the prices of like all the fuel and everything else like that. It's all just trying to keep you miserable and low. So nowadays, with the health and wellness side, when you're going into a hospital situation, you do not want them to do anything when no one's there to see what's going on. So on my power of attorney, I've just actually got it, excuse me. All right, so we've actually got this paperwork here. Oh, and there's my other stuff there. So I've got all this paperwork here now, right? It's come from the Office of the Public Guardian. Okay, so I've got that. Oh, that's an empty envelope. There it is. Okay, and this is obviously from myself and Janine, and it's registered lasting power of attorney for health and welfare. So on here, we've got it written that we will never be allowed to be left alone with a national health staff member. Never allowed to be left. This is the instructions that we've got on our health and wellness power of attorney. If you haven't got this certificate, right, and say, for instance, your partner gets put in the hospital, if you haven't got a lasting power of attorney certificate on here, and all of these, this is all of theirs, the paperwork that I've just got it this week. It only took about 3 months for me, but now I'm hearing from there that it's taken about 6 months to come through. If you haven't got it, they will do anything they want to you. All right. So if you go into hospital, I don't know, just say that you got hit in the head with a brick and you just couldn't speak properly and you ended up unconscious in hospital. If you haven't got anyone that can walk in and go, hang on, I've got power of attorney here, I will speak for them and I will make sure their wishes are carried out. So on my wishes here, no way am I allowed to have anything injected into me whatsoever. I'm not allowed to be left with any NHS staff alone ever, right? I'm not allowed to be tested on unless I specifically agree to it or the power of attorney agrees to it. I have to be left alone in a little corner to die if that's what I want, rather than have you mess around with me, right? And it's all in here. So you get the certificate, right? And that will allow you to go in and stop whatever's going on if you don't like it. It's the only one that the NHS will consider. You can write one up and hold it and say, oh, look, it's signed by this. If it's not from the Office of the Public Guardian, it will not carry water. They don't care, right? So have it done there, paid for, right? Do it and protect yourself so you can put a stop to anything that's happening, right? I don't get anything for that. I'm just telling you, right? Go and do it. And I know you have to pay the government. That's horrible. Yes. But once you've got it, you've got it. You don't have to pay again. You just pay one time. And then you've got your power of attorney and someone to look after you if the worst happens. Okay. But the same thing, right, with the property. This is all in here. Look, we've got all these envelopes dropping. It's all brown envelopes. Usually it's like, oh, but I knew what it was because I've done it, all the applications. So I was quite happy to see all them horrible coloured envelopes coming in. We also need it for the property and the finance. Why do you need it for the property and the finance? Well, I tell you, again, same thing, right? And I've got personal knowledge of this. If somebody gets put into a home, right, they can't look after themselves, or they actually get sectioned that they may hurt themselves by accident if they are left at home alone, okay? So what they do is they put them in an old people's home or something along those lines, nursing home, whatever you call them. I don't know. All right. But on mine, okay, what they'll do is they'll put you in a home and they'll sell your house to pay for the upkeep. And it's thousands a week, by the way, to go into these homes. You know, it's not like, you know, going down to bed and breakfast, you know, for 50 quid a night or whatever. 50 quid a night, I bet you. A lot less than that. But on the property and finance, okay, we've got written ours that our property is in a private trust anyway. All right, it's written in a private trust. And on this power of attorney is tied into the private trust. So we've got them tied together that absolutely no way in the world can the property be taken out of a private trust to fund anything. Not that I'm ever going to be going in a home, because I'm going to hang myself before I go in one of them places. All right. But right on my power of attorney, I've got it set up in the private trust. Absolutely never, ever, ever can they do anything with the property, the home, to pay for one of them horrible things that we feel go into. Okay. So vitally important that you get that steps. Do the L&D. If most of you've probably already done it, right, and get the private trust. I'm going to go on a little bit about that soon. And then get the lasting power of attorney done. And if you can, do it for health and wellness and the property and finance. If you can only do one, and then do the other one later. Okay, this will probably be the first one to do. All right, and then do that one later. You know, just because I can't remember how much it is now, but you have to pay the government for it. All right, so just so you know. But better to get that sorted than not. Okay. So let's going to go on to the private trust, right? Very, very, very important that we do on that private trust there, okay? So the this also, by the way, I found them. This was the PDF on there, the documents and everything, and this was just talking about the acts and the case law, you know, and about how to deal with the utilities if you were in that position, the council tax fraud, etc. How to deal with that. And this was like the PDF we had, but this was very limited compared to what that handbook will be. The handbook will have a lot of case law in it. It'll also have a lot of, you know, if you got stopped walking down the road by the police, if you got stopped like in driving on your private property down the road, etc., etc. So, and that's what that's for there. So we're going to have a look at the private trust. Everybody should have a private trust. Couple of people said, well, I haven't really got any property, you know, like it's not, the thing is, right, these people that have got like these trusts that set up, and all these massively wealthy people, they set the trusts up before they had the wealth. All right, they set the trusts up before they had the wealth so that the wealth could be put into the trust as and when it happened. Okay, so and I tell you, I was talking to a guy today, which I'm going to start getting much more involved in than this crypto stuff. I don't understand it. Okay, I cannot answer questions on it. But, you know, a couple of these people, this is the third person in a third man, I should say, in about a month that's gone on about this. And this stuff where they had actually invested. You're talking about becoming millionaires, you know, in a couple of months if you're doing the right thing, if you're following the right people and buying the right coins that boom. All right, I don't know anything about it, but I'm just saying. So if you actually had this trust set up and ready, all right, then you could put stuff into the trust as and when these things develop, okay, rather than trying to do it after. So like, you know, buy a house and then try, you know, have a trust ready. And then if you buy the house, it goes straight into the trust without any, like, you know, now I have to change the TR1, which I'm going to show you in a second. Okay, well, that's the Land Registry, okay? So it starts off at the top. The private trust, right, on the triangle, you're always going to have three parts to it, or three bodies, let's call them bodies, three entities to it. You're going to have the settlor. In the United States, they call them a grantor. But basically, it's the creator who creates the trust. All right, so we're going to call it the settlor because I'm in England. I'm going to create the trust. I am the creator of the trust, so I'm going to set it up. All right. Now you're going to have trustees, These are the ones that are going to be looking after the trust. Okay. And then you have your beneficiaries, which are the ones that are going to benefit from the proceeds of the trust. All right. I'll explain that a bit later, but don't worry. And then you'll also have the default beneficiaries, which default means, so for instance, if you were the beneficiary and then you move on to the next plane, then the trust goes down to the default beneficiaries. So this is the really good thing is now when you're looking at inheritance, you see, this is a good thing. And it can be your cryptocurrency, it can be your property, as in your private property that you're traveling down the public roads in, or it can be your home. But you're not passing on the property, you're passing on the trust. All right, that's important. That's really important. But why is that important? Well, if you look at these people again, these mega wealthy people, and they don't pay any inheritance tax or tax on the properties and everything when they're getting passed on, because they don't pass the property on, they pass the trust on. So we've got massive, great big like portfolios of properties. I'm talking about like these lands that the lords and ladies have and everything like that. Now what happens is, all right, that the trust gets moved to their default beneficiaries. Now a lot of them don't even have a will, they just have it set up in a trust. And you have the indenture, very important that you have the indenture. I'm going to show you mine in a second, set up for the trust. So the indenture says what happens in the trust and also what the trustees are allowed to do. You see? So that's vitally important. You want to have this indenture written up correctly and strongly so that you've got, they have to do what you say. So when you're going to put somebody, I'm going to put my house into the trust. So the trustees actually have now the title to it. They're not really the owners, but they are the holders of the actual title. So they hold the title of the house if it's your house. And a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't like the thought of that. I need to hold everything. Everything's mine." Well, the thing is, if someone's going to attack you financially, they're going to go after whatever you own. If you don't own anything, they can't touch anything. So if you put it into a trust and the trustees are managing it for you, and you've wrote the rules correctly, which you can read like mine, and you can actually have a look, and I'm trying to improve them all the time, then you're telling them what to do anyway. And you can also, as the settler, you can actually give yourself the position of a general manager. If I don't know what the term would be, but general manager. All right, so you actually are the manager of the trustees, even though they're the holder of the title. Okay, then you being the general manager as well as the settler. Okay, you can tell them all what to do. There's other ways around this, but I don't want to go. This is a public presentation, so I don't want to give away too many secrets. All right, but just I'm giving you an outline of it. So initially what you're going to do is you're also not only going to be the settler, but you're going to be the beneficiary, and then you're going to get it passed on to whoever is the default beneficiaries. Now the thing is, you can even set this up. For instance, got itchy that bite. If we're doing that crypto stuff, right? So hopefully I find out more about it. And the thing is, we know everything's going to go digital anyway, so we should be starting to find out about it so we can take advantage of it. So if that's going to create an income, and I know a lot of people now have got a lot of income coming out of these things, you can set up so that the beneficiaries are paid an income from the trust. So you don't have to work. It's the crypto, for instance, is in the trust as well as everything else, and it pays out, right, monthly or yearly income, whatever it would be, to the beneficiaries. And certain levels, you wouldn't have to worry about tax or anything like that. So you can do that. And then obviously, like I say, the trust itself moves down to the default beneficiaries when you go to the next life. All right. So you pass on the trust, you don't pass on the property. So again, you're not going to be paying, what do they call it? Inheritance tax or anything like that. This is how these wealthy people, right? They didn't start off with all the wealth, and lots of people, for instance, lottery winners, you've heard it all the time. They get massive 10, 20, 30 million, and it's gone in a couple of years. They don't know how to handle it. Whereas like the wealthy, they're taught this before they even go to school. All right. So, you know, and you know where to go. You know, you've seen all them pictures up on the internet of like Doris sitting like looking like a big prune in Eton College and all of that stuff. They get taught this before they even get there. So we're just playing catch up. They've been doing this for like thousands of years. I mean, it is literally thousands of years. So we're just catching up on this stuff, you know. But this is the way to actually do it. This is why we want to get in the private, set up your lasting power of attorney, which is public. It's with the government, fair enough. But then do the rest of it private trust. Okay. And the reason why they do it privately, and now I'm talking about the Rockefellers, I'm talking about the Gettys, right, and the Rothschilds. And, you know, when J.D. Rockefeller disappeared off the earth, right, nobody knew where the assets went or who the beneficiaries were because it was in a private trust. And if you've got the decent trustees, which he had decent trustees, all right, that will stand their ground. If they have to have any like government agencies, for instance, HMRC, IRS, wherever you might live, they come in and say, I want to know all about this. See, I'm sorry, it's private. It's a private business. All right. It's in a private trust. No one is allowed to know. Right. And that's a fact. That's a fact. Okay. So, but as long as it's the same thing when you're standing, when you're in the private and you stand there, you've got to stand your ground as a man or a woman. And then your trustees, you've got to make sure that they're going to stand as strongly as a trustee of a private trust. Private business can't be discussed outside of that trust. It's private and confidential. All right. So this is a thing. We all need privacy. Okay. But we all need privacy because we've lost it. Yeah. And they're trying to make us lose it more and more and more. And the thing is, we've given it up too easily. I mean, I went to buy, actually, it was actually some compost because we're growing our own food. We're changing all the garden to grow our own food. We've got everything, there's good plants everywhere. It's all food plants. Right. So I went to get some more compost. And then you're going up to the till, and then you can see your face on the thing. You're standing there, they're filming everything. You know, facial recognition and everything. You know, you can't do anything without, you know, getting spied upon. So we've lost it and we'd allowed it to be done that way. Now, this is what they cannot find, they cannot steal. This is talking about the assets in a private trust. And that's what John D. Rockefeller had written in there, right? And he said it, own nothing, control everything, right? They couldn't find his assets. Nobody knew what his assets were or who actually got them after he had gone. So imagine, right, you've got like thieves, and I'm not just talking about government thieves, I'm talking about all sorts of thieves. And they're going to try and dip into your wealth, dip into your assets or whatever. But if they can't find them, they can't steal them. Okay? So you have to make sure that we really look after ourselves being in a private trust. So when you're talking about private trust, properties should be in private trust. And you should be able to distinguish your properties as well. So look, on this case law, this is actually a little bit away from the private trust, but your property should be in a private trust because nobody can touch them. They can't get you out of the property here. So case law, Dyche versus HSBC, and it's using the word person. All right. So when a person, because it's an act of parliament, it's case law. This is why I'm saying you can dip in and out of being public and private. You got to be careful. Don't distinguish and completely say I'm never a person, because then you can't use case law. You see, public, private, in, out, in, out. Okay. When a person has equitable interest in a property from contribution to purchase price and is still living at the property, the bank cannot repossess. Now, if I'd have been able to tell hundreds and hundreds and thousands actually of people that, all right, a few years ago, they would have never lost a home. But I've seen hundreds of people getting dragged out of the home by police. Dragged out of your home by police because you couldn't afford the mortgage. But the thing is, if you've got equitable interest in the property, i.e. you've put a deposit down, So you put a deposit down to the purchase price. Then your other special interest is that you're TLCing it because you're living in it, you've decorated it, or you're maintaining it, you're looking after it, and you have your home in it. That's special interest. Okay, the bank can never ever repossess. How good is that to know? How good is that to know? Okay. So what we're talking about, we are talking about irrevocable private common law trusts in equity. All right, that's what we're actually doing. That's what it's called. So if you look at the Senior Courts Act 1981, Section 49, Part 1, where law and equity conflict, equity will prevail. Everything that we're doing is written into equity. So we're going to teach you more and more and more about equity, and the paperwork that I have here that I'm going to show you and everything that I've done for the private trust, which is going to be available to everybody very soon as well in a different website. All right, although it's on the members site now anyway. Okay, but I'm going to show you how it's written in equity. And it has to be written in equity, and it has to be expressed in equity to make sure, okay, that it stands up and that it also lasts that length of time, you know, as irrevocable. Irrevocable doesn't mean it can never be changed. What it means is when you're dying, it's going to pass on and go on to the next generation, okay? But you can have revocable trusts and living trusts, but they're usually more statutory, i.e., it's tied into like the Acts of Parliament and everything. And it's for different reasons. Sometimes you might benefit from having that type of trust, right? But what we're looking at is the private type, which is going to protect everything that we need to be protected. All right, try and move out of the way and move the camera down, and I'll show you my trust documents. Okay, and hang on. Oh, and I'll read this out as well. Where is it? Where's the camera? HM Revenue and Customs. Yeah, did you see the address? That's my private address. All right, not here. Okay, you should all have a private address as well. You should all know that. All right, but I'll read this. This is a very nice letter that I got from HMRC. So, again, it's talking about being private, yes? So if I'm private, being a private man, or if you know, for yourselves, man or woman, whichever, then I am definitely not standing as a person, and I am not agreeing to being involved with the HMRC. So we are removing ourselves. We are not consenting to that acts and statutes of the Parliament. So the Acts and Statutes, the Tax Act, I've got it written down somewhere what it was. Okay. So this is great. The sentence it starts off, it says, we agree and withdraw the notice to complete and tax return. All right. So that's it. We agree with you. Couldn't believe it. So, I mean, I knew it was going to be okay, but I just didn't expect them to be so quick and agree. So that's wiping away the actual tax. So I'm out of tax completely. All right. So it's closed down the HMRC. So yeah, that's what you have to do. Get yourself in the private and close down like your HMRC stuff. All right. So that there, we're going to, yeah, you should have a private address. I use Ghostmail, but there's loads of different ones that you can have, you know, but whatever address that you have, register everything away from your home. The private trust should be registered away from your home, and your everything that I have is just away from here. I don't get mail here, apart from what I had to put down, putting this address down for the Office of the Public Guardian, because they check and it comes straight back to you. It's got to be very, very careful with there. But apart from that, everything else goes straight down to that address, the private address. All right, so that's going to be turned in. That is all of the PDF that I put on the last, well, maybe not the last, but one of like the videos when we're talking about how to deal with all of these situations that were coming up if you were doing different things with your utilities, etc. And now, on the private trust documentation, which I have here, and I'm going to show you and I'm going to go over. The reason why I've got the envelopes, all right, this is the way I do it, right? With the envelopes, I buy online, I buy the mail, and then I send it when I'm doing it to whenever I'm doing the L&D. I did it this way, and I actually can control then how I get the tracking number. So I've got the tracking number on here, tracking number KB0883, blah, 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 blah. That there is also in the document that I send off. And then, so I've sent it off, right? And then I get on here, look, track your item, okay? So this is proof of delivery. So it's the same tie-in right there. When I sent the private trust document, when it arrived and it was signed for. So nobody could ever say that it was not created, it was not expressed. But this is also why I've expressed it on a public notice. So it's gone on the local newspaper on a public notice, and all it says is there was a private trust created on whatever date, reference number, whatever reference number you've given for the name of your private trust, okay? And underneath it just says, if anybody wants to inquire about this private trust, go to, and I made up a Gmail address. Can't remember what it was now. Well, it was the name of the trust. So whatever name trust at gmail.com. Okay, no one's ever going to do anything, but that is in the local newspaper and it was done online. This is the expression. You first verbally express it. I have a private trust. That is literally it. But then you have to have the proof of it if you're putting stuff into the trust. Okay, so let's just say that it'll be your home, right? So that's why I have the proof. Oh, okay, hang on a second as well. So what I have when I first do it is you have the certificate of posting. So you got the certificate of posting. This is when I do it online because you can just print it all out. It's great. Then it's got the tracking when it was delivered, proof of sending it, proof of delivery. Okay, absolutely no way that you're actually going to get pulled up by it at all. So on the documentation we have the actual deed. Now, the deed itself is massive. So, this is the actual deed with the indenture. The indenture is the rules and the regulations, everything that you want to tell your trustees. So, they're allowed to do this, they're not allowed to do that. This is what they can do, this is what they can't do. And it's all in here. So I've got my trust number. This expressed family trust was made on that day. IMN used plain simple English and plain simple counting systems. No unauthorized right of access. Okay, so strictly private and confidential. And that's my trust. And it's like written. This is written in a way. And I'll tell you. Let's just take a little bit out. So it'll give you an essence of how private this is. So. The man or woman who sometimes acts as and is described as the settlor in the schedule. So you also have a schedule, how it's written down. The man or woman who sometimes acts as settlor. Because we're always going to be a man or woman, right? It's not going to be done as a person. It's always going to be written privacy with a living man or woman. Okay? We're not going to be a person and we're not going to be under statute. It could never be mistaken for being a statutory trust that way. If you use the incorrect words, right, or if you use the incorrect font, or you're changing things and you're making it bold and underlining and putting things in boxes, you have not got a private trust, right? So, and it's going through, I mean, I can't remember how many rules and regulations there are, but there's a lot, okay? And then at the end, right, we have the deed that was signed and witnessed as well. Okay, so we've got it with the postal mechanics there. All right, so I've gone to the post office. I've got the stamp. Then I've done the autograph through it, and I've got the thumbprint on it. Now I know it's in red because I had done all mine well over a year ago, and it was all in red. So this is for a private trust. So if they want to go into a court with it, and then it's going to do whingy noises for an hour about, like, you know, that does that blood? Is that what you're trying to say? Is it a biohazard? When they can go and sod off. All right, this is my private trust, and I need it to match anyway. Okay. So it starts off. It's got strictly private and confidential. This express private family trust was originally expressed verbally. Okay, as of the, and then I've got the date between Peter of the Wilson family and Janine Ann of the Wilson family, which shall be considered by all concerned, interested, and affected parties to be the date this expressed private family trust was formed. And then it goes on about the different aspects of the trust. And then, okay, you may or may not want to be doing this. I've got it here. It's like I've got my seals. That there, the gold seals is my signature. Put the seal on. I have the embosser. Squeeze the embosser on, and it's got executed as a deed by Peter, the man. Okay. Then it's witnessed, and I've got two separate witnesses. Okay. All right. So, and then I've got like and then at the back on the final part of the document, we're showing it there that nobody can add on. All right. So it's as private as you could possibly get. Okay. So it's quite a large document, but that's the deed and the indenture. All right. So it's like, you know, it's quite a big document. All right. So what we have on here, we also, all of the documents that you see. Okay. So this is the memorandum of trust creation and declaration. This is also postal mechanics. All right. So I've got the post office stamp over the £1 stamp. I've got my autograph through it, and then I've got the thumbprint on there as well. And this is telling us the thing that we need to make sure that this trust is there. So we have, whoops, move that over there. Okay. The three things that you need to have by law to create a private trust. You have to have certainty of intention. Well, when you're creating it and you're doing those public expressions in the public notice and etc., that is a certainty of intention. Certainty of subject matter. What is the property? So you have to put the property title, create property title, and put the property into the trust, and it's called a res when you put it into the property. And then also certainty of objects or beneficiaries. That's the three things that you must have. That will make it a lawful, even legal in their world, really, right? It will be both, okay? And we do use case law in it, and it's like, as a man who sometimes acts as settler, I, a man, Peter, have the right to invoke a trust as described by L.J. Turner in Milroy versus Lord. So, you know, I have, and again, look, see, I've got it tracked. I've got the item tracked by the Royal Mail when it was sent and when it was delivered, and I have a copy of it. Okay, so all of that trust documentation. So what happens is, I have another one here which I'm going to read to you. Okay, which I think is important because someone was asking a lot of questions, and then I'm going to explain how you can do it. Here it is. So I'm going to read this one to you. Now, this one here, this is the assignment. It's the assignment documentation. So once you create your trust, then you have to put stuff, you know, you can create it with one item, which is generally, say, let's put your home in. But then you're going to put the rest of your stuff in. So you create it first. Now, let's just say that you start doing this crypto and it goes well and you build up this wealth, and you can move it into the trust. Okay, so you're going to put different things in at different times. So this is saying here is, right, oh yeah, you're actually depositing, try saying that, depositing things into the trust, or settling things into the trust, being the settlor. Right, so you're going to give it different title numbers. So I've got all electrical devices, including televisions, radios, cookers, clothes washers, computers, printers, laptops, microphones, recording equipment, and any other electrical equipment for every room at the family home of blah, blah, blah. All right, title number PA, blah, 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 blah. on there. Okay. And then the next one, all gardening equipment and tools, all work tools, including electrical, all outbuildings, all furniture, all outbuildings, all crops, all fruit trees, all unharvested fruits and crops, all stored water, all water storage containers, all garden furniture at the family home of blah, blah, blah. Title number, PA, property asset. Okay. All bicycles, blah, 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 all martial arts equipment, because we have a lot of martial arts equipment. Okay, now the martial arts equipment we have, because we specialized in weapons. So we've got a lot of, might look very violent, but we have a lot of like knives and swords and sticks and staffs, you know, stuff that would be very handy in a war. All right, but we've got that equipment. So, and some of them are worth fortunes, by the way, proper Japanese hand-turned steel swords, you know, worth a fortune. And if you wouldn't want to touch it, you got to be very careful because it would cut your hand off. They are like lethal, sharp. Okay. So now the private trust. All right. If you have a complicated life situation, you've got like multiple properties, you've got like a buy-to-let, stuff like that. Okay. And you've got, you know, stuff that you can't really do yourself. You really don't want to be doing it. Then, you know, I tell you, you need a bespoke trust and you've got to speak to Darren. All right. And I'll never see any different to that. But if, you know, you think you can just manage it, you want to create a private trust and everything. Now, if you're in the members area, if you're a member of the private site, you can do it there. It's all there. All of the documentation I've just read out to you there, it's all there. But I am setting up a separate website. It's just pointless giving you the name because it's not ready yet. But I've got people working on it for me, and you will be able to go on and buy it as a one-off payment. It's not going to be fortunes at all. Obviously, if you think about it, bespoke kitchen is going to cost a lot of money, right? And a bespoke trust is going to cost a lot more than if you did it yourself. But I have the documents in there, and I'm going to set up a website, okay? And you're going to be able to download all of the documents, go and buy it as a one-off thing, and then you can go through it, right? And you can create it, and it's written very well. It's written very well as a private trust, as a man or a woman, to protect you and your family and your assets, your property, proper to I. Your children are your property. They're not your children. Your sons and daughters are your property, as are your fingerprints, as is your DNA. It's proper to I. I'm not having my DNA changed by anyone. You understand where I'm going with that, don't you? So, you know, this is what gets put into a private trust, and then nobody can have it unless they've got written permission of all the trustees, all of the trustees. Okay. So once you've actually done, now don't get confused. I've had a few people trying to tell me this thing, and it's not correct at all. It's not true, right? Listen. Oh, dribbling out my mouth. You can transfer, all right, your property into a trust, and you put your TR1 from the Land Registry, that is. So all you're going to do is you're going to move it from your name, and it'll just say, well, what? It's not called this, but let's just say I've got the Peter Wilson Private Trust, and trust number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Who owns it? The trustee. All right. You don't put the names down, right? So the trustee's name is going on the Land Registry. Who owns it? Private trust owns it. You don't own it. If you don't own it, they can't take it off you, right? So I tell you what it is now. What we've seen through this, we've been like studying and diving into this council tax scam. The councils are making more money by repossessions than they're doing on any other business at all. These councils, the filth, they are repossessing people's houses left, right, and centre, making them bankrupt. It's big money to them, all right? But they couldn't do it to you if your house was in a trust. If it's got stated there, trustee, which is two things. They can only do council tax because if it's under acts and statutes, and they'll tell you the Local Government Act 1989, in a private trust, it's under equity. And I just told you before, and it said there, equity will always beat law. There. Okay. All right. So also, And this is the thing, right? It's like everyone says, oh, you know, it doesn't matter about your car because the DVLA own your car anyway. You are just the keeper. Yes, I understand, but you have the right of use. So we need to put the right of use into trust. That's the difference. So I get phone calls all the time and people are coming up, oh, they've clamped my car. Why have they clamped your car? Why is your name on that car? You shouldn't have your name on the car. So on my V5, which I've done it, they taxed it for me. So I went, right, okay. And then I found out it was less than £1 a day, like 70 pence a day. I thought, oh, I'm not going to argue it. So just let them do it. And then, but I put it in the name of the trustee. So just say, for instance, I got some kind of ticket or I didn't pay or whatever, right? Who are they going to send a ticket to? It has to be sent to the trustee. If they come knocking on my door or anything like that, and they they can't put a clamp on the car that is not tied to my name, right? So there's no name on it. Well, whose property is that? It's in the trust. You know, there's nothing that they can do. Okay, this is the difference. This is why you protect and everything. Now, as I had said, right, we are going to have this set up and we're going to do 2 versions of it. The same as we've got. I'm actually trying to like keep it quiet on the debt thing at the minute because I'm trying to move around with the actual website. And I told you the other time I broke it all the software. So I'm having to like get all sorted again. So that was not the plan. But on the trust thing, it's going to be very soon. I'm making the videos, and what will happen is that it'll show you. This is the documentation, and there's also a video tutorial on how to do it. All right, how to set it up, and they're going to be. This is DIY, and this one here is done for you. And obviously, the done for you is going to be a lot more money, well, comparatively, not like a bespoke one at all. But you know, and if you think you're not comfortable with creating it yourself, then we'll do it for you. All right, and then you'll get your documentation, and the same thing, we'll show you how to do all the postal mechanics, how to do it, and also how to get it expressed in the public. You don't tell them anything about it because it's a private trust, but you express it in the public. So if you ever got challenged, so if you got your house was in the private, and like, you know, someone saying, a bailiff saying, no, I'm having this, right? You can't tell me it's in a private trust. Not only is it at the TR1, you've changed it to trustee, right, at the Land Registry, but then you've also got it expressed publicly in the newspaper. There's no one in the world can argue. That's why we do it. You don't give them any details because the details are private. You're private. You're in the private, and you have the private trust. All right? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So that's the way we're going to do it. So once this, and it won't be long now. I've been working very, very hard on it. Okay, so and then it'll be there, and it'll be affordable to everybody, really. Okay. So I'm itching my foot again. Okay, so like I said, right, Jamie wanted to be on tonight, but he got called away at a family emergency. But hopefully, I've covered stuff for you there. All right, there's still nearly 180 people on, so you must have been interested in something. Okay. But right, let's have a quick look at some questions. See if I can get. If you've got questions now, fire them on. Okay, and I'll have a quick look. Right, but get yourself set up in a private. Yeah, definitely do that first, and then do your private trust. The website will be up very soon to create that private trust. It definitely will. Okay. All right. So, like Jody is saying, has anyone gotten their mortgage money back? Do you know what I'm going to do? I've got this thing, and I'm going to do this as well. I know I'm doing too much, but I'm going to set up like a perfected mortgage lien challenge, and I'm going to see as many people as possible to join in at the same time. And it's something that you can get for money back for you paid your mortgage off years ago, or you're just doing it now. All right. So either one, I'm going to launch it and see if I can get as many people to start challenging the mortgages very, very soon. All right. And it'll be old mortgages as well, because you can still ask them for all of this information to prove that they ever created any funds for you, which you know they never did. All right. So that's going to be coming very, very soon. And it is from the Beneficiaries one. And, so it's what I want. I'm going to set it up together right? So that we can actually get a massive challenge to like thousands of mortgages, hopefully. Can't listen. All right, I'm just going to have a quick look to see any questions, but you start sending me questions in now, okay? See what's down there. Well, there's another. See, a lot of people say that, Debbie. Debbie is saying there, you know, if you haven't got any children or nieces and nephews, all right, what would be the point of doing the trust? But the thing is, you're still here. You're still alive. Do you want them to take everything from you? You know, it's like you've got to protect yourself as well as protect the. If you can't protect the next generations, then leave it to your cats and dogs, all right, or to a home, or to a charity, all right. Do you want, you know, if you don't give it to the correct enterprises, dogs, cats, homes, stuff like that, the government taking it all right? Do you want that? If you want help with the private trust, then it's gold@claimyourstrawman.com. Okay. Office of the Public Guardian, Scythe Cooper, Office of the Public Guardian. Just go Google it, and it's just it's a government office, and they create the power of attorney for you. Okay, that's what it is. And if you don't have children, like I say, leave it to a cat. You know, but get in the private and get a private trust. Who should you name as trustees? I don't want to say on a public network, right? I can do. Do you know what? I might actually do a separate webinar and have it private, you know, because I don't want to give too much away here, and I don't want to the wrong people. I know you're always going to get spied upon, but on a public network, you don't even have to have spies. Everybody can see it. Let's have a look. 1099. Okay. Right. Let's talk about the 1090, which has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but let's talk about it. So listen, this is where we're at. Now, I talk to people all the time. We're investigating this all the time, and it's different, you know. And if you ever, his name might be, I keep getting it mixed up, but his surname's Hauser, Hauser. If you want to listen on his YouTube channel, find out a little bit more about this. But he does it completely different to what I'm doing. So we've been trying to do this for a couple of years now. Now we've got people who've done it and got like letters back, getting $15,000 fines because they've done it wrong. Okay. But that is still proof that the system works. He just did the wrong entries. Okay. And now that might sound crazy, but it's still proof. So on the 1099 OID original issuer discount, you can claim all the money back out of your bank that went out of the bank. Now, not cash withdrawals or transfers to yourself. And don't ask about that because that's daft. But anything that went out on a direct debit, standing order, paid your mortgage, paid your rent, bought your food, went for a night out, went to the cinema, bought new clothes, everything that you've paid out, you can actually claim back. Okay. And you get taxed on it by the IRS. Now, and this might be mad, and this is what was holding me up all the time, was that I couldn't figure out how to do this 1040 form, right? Which is not a 1099 form. You have to do a 1040 as well. And I'm thinking, well, I can't. But now we've found the correct 1040 form to do. So what you're doing the 1099A, a 1099C, and you also need a 1040, but the right type of 1040. And I was always doing a W8BEN. Now we found it shouldn't be a W8BEN, right? It needs to be a different form to get your ITIN number. I know I'm sounding mad, right? And there's all these like letters and everything, but you need to get a tax reference number in the United States, because all tax money, by the way, all finance and everything, all goes to the IRS in the United States. Okay, your council tax, everything, all ends up there. All right, everything coming out of your bank, there's only one like owner of everything at the end of the day, and it all goes to the IRS. So you can claim it back from the IRS. So you have to deal with them. So now, After the guy got fined, we're like, "Whoa, well, that wasn't a very good outcome." But then, so far, right, falling off a building, so far so good, so far so good. So we don't know what's going to happen yet. Keeping everyone informed. So what you have to do is when you send all the forms off and you fill them all in, you send it with your passport. Okay, right? This has got nothing to do with any other group. I'm not talking about any other group. This is what we're doing and what we found out and what we're speaking to the people in the IRS in America, right? We're not talking to different groups. We're not having anyone else do anything for us. We're doing it all ourselves. Not always the correct way, as I've just explained, but we're getting there. So what we've had now is the IRS have now returned this guy's passport. Okay, and they didn't give any fines out. So it looks like it's going the correct way. So we're sitting and waiting now, and there's nothing else that we can do until I'm not going to do it again, right, and then do it wrong. So as soon as we get word, and it could be a check, get word back or check back or whatever it is, then, then the information will start to come out. Okay. And we're doing this all ourselves. There's nobody helping it. We're not, I'm talking about me and the other guy that I'm talking about, and like, there's no other groups involved. There's no help involved. We've been painstakingly going down one route, hitting the brick wall, next route, hitting the brick wall. But we've been getting further and further. So we believe, what is it now? May, basically. I reckon, after the summer, I reckon that we'll actually have solid information that other people will be able to use. Okay, so that's what we're doing with the 1099. Okay, all right, let's see. Let's have a look. Okay, good. I'm glad. It's great watching everybody. Richard, Christopher. For some reason, Dimebar, I've got this name Richard in my head, and I keep saying, "Oh yeah, go and speak to or listen to Richard Hauser," and it's not, is it? It's bloody Christopher. I don't know what it is. I was even talking to someone who was on his site, and I was still saying it. But yeah, and he does it totally different, but not at all. But he's actually doing it. So he turns this 1099. I do believe, into a check. Now, I've got another guy. I don't think he's on tonight. Doesn't look like he's on tonight. But he's actually learning. He's nearly buying a house with it. Okay. So we'll also let you know how that gets on, and he's going to help other people and tell other people as well for us. So that would also be good, wouldn't it? You're going to go and buy a house or something like that. But yeah, you do need the EIN and you do need the ITIN. So, it's equity is worldwide. Equity is a worldwide law. That's as simple as it is. Okay, which somebody was just asking about equity. All right, so someone's saying a TR1 just cost me 650 quid plus VAT. How? I did mine for like it was £60. It took about 6 weeks. All right. Yeah, well, okay. So if it's solicitors and saying and conveyancing, we did everything ourselves. But I actually did all of the forms, TR1, and there was a few other things I had to do about the Land Registry, and it cost, because I actually got a refund because I'd sent 90 quid off and I got a refund back because I had read the wrong line. So that was nice, wasn't it? Getting a little bit of a refund, but it was only about 60 quid, and I changed the name. So it's like, if they can't find anything that you have, then they can't steal anything from you. This is the benefit of all of this private and being private and private trusts. Okay. My opinion would be not. Why would you go and register with something if you're deregistering? All right. So I wouldn't want to sign up with anybody. I wouldn't want to go and sign up and go to if I'm going to get rid of a passport, I'm not going to get a different passport. If I'm going to go, I'm declaring myself private, why not go declare yourself with something else, be it a common law court or anything like that? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. I'm not saying I don't know them. I'm actually, they're going to be at that meeting. All right. I'm going to be talking to them and everything like that. But why register yourself after you've deregistered? That to me just doesn't make sense, in the opinion of I, and that's all it is. But yeah, on the embossed seal, right, which I've got, where is it now? It's on there. It was like I do a red one and a gold one. I did the gold one because I thought, it looks more important for the trust. It's got my name on, right? So what it is, it's got I've got different ones for different things. So if I want to do, but basically it's got all rights reserved, and then it's like lowercase Peter, all rights reserved, and it's a autograph, and you squeeze on that, and that's your seal. All right. So you do your thumbprint, and then you've got that, and it's just Peter, and then all rights reserved. Okay. So you're reserving all your rights. You don't have to have that, but it just makes things easier and it looks a lot nicer, doesn't it? Okay. All right. Well, yeah, equity probably wouldn't work in China, maybe. I don't know. I'd rather be in Russia than anywhere else, I tell you. But no, China. No, you can keep China. How would you deal with a liability order for council tax? Okay, Cynthia is asking about how would you deal with a liability order with council tax? I would do a specific DSAR, data subject access request, but it's got to be specific. If you have a liability order, you need to challenge the liability order. So what you do is you send, now they'll say, if it's from the council, right, they've done a fake summons, they've done a fake court hearing, and they've created a fake liability order. They stopped doing liability orders. They were withdrawn in 2003. I think the 1st of October, 2003. So what have you got? It was never replaced. It's completely and utterly fraudulent. So find out what they say it comes from, which court. So, right, if you were here and it was just like Northumberland County Court, that's where I live. So I would like go to the right to a specific data subject access request to the Northumberland County Court, the clerk of the court who runs it. They're the boss. And you say, I want specific data, all data held on, and then give your name for a liability order and give the reference number that they've given you. And you send it to the real court, not the address or the name or anything that the council have sent you, because it's all council paperwork. It's all fraudulent. So once you've done that, and this is proof, we had Gavin on saying it as well the other day, right? Once you've got all they'll do is they'll send you it back saying we've got no data. So when the court's turning around and saying we have no data, because you've specifically asked them for data that they have on that liability order. That's that's hard to say. That's a specific data subject access request. Don't just send in, tell me all your data. Specifically ask for the data they have on you for that liability order, reference number, blah, blah, blah. All right. Now they'll have to tell you they haven't got any data. They have to. That is the law, right? Acts and statutes, but you know what I mean. So anyway, so when you get that, then there is proof. Then you can actually go and get an N1 claim judgment. You have to, I think it's £308, might be a bit more now, right? And you go and fight it at your local court to against the council, right? So now you've got a court order, a real court order, saying that liability order is fraudulent and fake. Okay, case closed, finished. Now, when Gavin done it, he said the zeroed his council tax bill. All right, and then they've never sent him one since. So there you go. Okay, boom, boom. All right. I don't know what that means. Does it work the same as the equity from common law? I don't know what that means. All right. Yeah, stay away from Russia and well, China for sure. Let's have a look. See if any more comments on there. Cool. Yeah, they do. They print their own summons. They do. It's just ridiculous, you know. Let's have a look. See. Also, do you have the zero tax process documented? What does that mean? Like Charlene saying, also, do you have the zero tax process documented? I don't really know what that means. You don't need to be a corporation to get an EIN number. What you have to do is you have to ring the Austin, Texas, because that's the one I rang in the United States, and you get them. Oh, I need an EIN number. So what they should just say is like, look, I'm setting up a business that may do business in the United States. May do business. So just in case I might have to file any taxes, just in case you're not telling them you're doing anything, I want to have an EIN number ready just for that, right? So I want it now. And they're fine. I mean, I was on, it took me 45 minutes or something just to get through to them. I was on hold. I did it through Skype, so it didn't cost an arm and a leg. And they were lovely. They were very, very helpful. And I did the same number. I'm sure it was the same number when I asked them to send me the forms. And loads of people are having trouble getting these forms apparently now, because I think more people are actually requesting them. But when I rang up, probably last year in the summer maybe, and I just asked, can you send me these forms and these forms and these forms? And they sent them no problem. Didn't cost me anything either. They posted them out to me from America, landed here, big envelope full of all these tax forms, because that's what they are, they're tax forms, but I got them all sent. But you don't need to be a company or anything like that, You refuse to get an IRS tax account for my book. Now should I? I don't really know what you mean by that, David. So you refuse to get so does that mean that you wouldn't get one, and now you're thinking maybe you should? You don't need to get a tax account. Just get an EIN number. Okay, and then once we get further down the line, you can apply for the ITIN number. I know it sounds nuts getting all these, what does that mean? What does that mean? But, the tax numbers and everything. And then if you never use them, you never use them. But you need them to apply. Once we've got this and we get confirmation that we've done it right, then we're going to pass that information on. And you need their numbers to be able to claim. It's simple as. You may as well get them sorted. Right, give me that. How about? Is there a video on where you have a private address for your trust? Well, you need a private address anyway for everything. So you've got, if you actually just Google like forwarding addresses, private addresses, business addresses, and there'll be a few. I use a company called Ghostmail. I have nothing to do with them, right? I just found it by Googling, and then I actually paid, and I pay yearly so I can use their address. And what they do is they get the mail from me and they send it in a blue envelope so nobody knows what it is, and they send it here. Okay. And everything that I have is all registered at this private address, a different address. So if anybody wants to write to me, be it HMRC or gas and electricity or anything, they must write to that address. Okay. It's the only way that they'll actually get any correspondence from me. Okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think you should, Trevor. I don't think you should do that. No. £19 a year at Ghostmail. Is that right, Marie? I paid a lot more than that. Have I been robbed? No, we're not wanting to be a secured party creditor. That's not what this is about. You want to be private and you want to be in a private trust. Okay. The living trust is not the equivalent. Where did that go? The living trust is not the equivalent to a private trust. It's a completely different entity at all. A living trust, obviously, as it says, you're alive and you're doing it, right? And you're setting it up, and it's set up for a specific time, for a specific purpose. It's a completely different animal. All right. We are doing like a private common law trust or a private equitable common law trust. There's different rules and regulations. And if you're doing that a living trust, right, you're going to be under acts and statutes. That is completely not private. And you'll have to do whatever the government tell you to do then. All right, with that trust. So, make sure that you're doing it privately. The paperwork that we've got is all private. Everything that we're doing is private. Trust. Let's quickly move up there. See, glad you enjoyed it, D. Great. You did. Unfortunately, Jamie got called away on family emergency, said so, and he did apologize and sends all his love and everything like that. Okay. Yeah, well, whatever party gets voted in, Paul's talking about like elections. Doesn't matter. Get off the electoral roll and don't vote for anything because it doesn't count anyway. They'll just put in whatever they want to put in. If you've just watched Donald Trump's election, whenever it was, a couple of years ago, and then like that French one, you can see how there's no way in the world that happened. It's completely and utterly ridiculous. And the one we've had, like this whole where I'm in the north, it's all miners and shipyards or X because they took all the jobs away, right? Do you really think that they wanted that big, posh, pompous, fat fuck, to be looking after them? No way. There's no way that this was a conservative vote, man. It's all scammed. All right. Hiya, Wayne. So Wayne's saying, what's your professional opinion, professional of irrevocable trust versus trademarks to override mortgage fraud? I've been given the opportunity to learn from someone. Oh, it jumped. Hang on. Sorry. People putting questions. To squash it all for minimal pushback. Right. Okay. Well, I'm not there to give advice. I'll tell you what I do, right? I don't give legal advice for sure because I'm not qualified, right? But I don't want to be because, I'd rather have the knowledge of it, but like not having paying for their license. And I tell people what I'm doing and they can do whatever they want to do. But I would not be paying that kind of money to talk about trademarking. I've trademarked my name, right? All uppercase, all capitals, all lowercase, and then capital P and capital W. I've trademarked all mine already. I certainly didn't have to pay anybody all that money to actually to do it. I had to pay to get it trademarked, and I got to pay the government. But whatever, everyone has to follow their own path, and they all have to do whatever they want to do. But I wouldn't be doing that. Let's just say that, okay? You see, Marie's saying something about what you put on the power of attorney if you wanted pure unvaccinated blood. I've got mine written something like that as well, actually. That's what I've got written on the power of attorney, that I'm not allowed to have any transfusion of blood unless I can 100% find out where it came from. So I've got that on my power of attorney, okay? My website, the one for the trusts, it's not up yet. I think it might be called something like trustisequity.com. It's not up yet, all right? But the claimingstrawman.com, that's up, okay? And then on there, you can go on and you can download all that paperwork for free to actually get yourself put in the private. If you go into the members section, fair enough, there's a cost. You don't have to do it. I don't care if you do it or don't do it. right? But it's in dollars because we had so many Americans, you know, the when we actually set it up, and I was talking to so many, so I did it. That's just the way it is. So it's for nothing compared to the information that's in there, and I mean that. But you know, claimingstrongman.com, and then you can go in and be private. But that's it really. Let's have a look. All right. Yeah, definitely unvaccinated. Oh, I shouldn't say that word, should I? Definitely I've done that, Marie, about like the blood transfusion. I'm not having anyone do that for me. Absolutely not. Paul is saying, is the letter to HMRC in the members area? What letter? Is that because I got that reply and moving myself out of the tax? It's not in there. But I've got the reply saying thank you, we agree with you, which was amazing. But yeah, I haven't actually put anything up in there, but I will. Okay. Right. So, you know, when you go onto Facebook, and if you're coming in Facebook and you haven't like because this is StreamYard, right? You come in, if you're from Facebook, you have to do something. I can't remember what now, but you have to put your name in, and then it'll tell you it'll tell me who's talking. So someone said, which I don't know, if you change your person's name on everything, can they still come after you for any old so-called debts? I don't really know what that means. If you change your person's name on everything, do you mean if you put it all into the trust? Is that what you mean? I don't know your name because it just says Facebook user, so I'm not really sure what you mean by that. But you know, everything should be in a trust, and if everything's in a trust and your name, right, is not on the house, is not on the car, then there's nothing they can touch you for anyway. If that's what you mean, then that's the answer, but not. Whoop. Press the wrong button there. Okay. Bob, I'm going to put that up there. Look at that. If voting made a difference, they would have banned it years ago. There you go. Exactly. You know, there's no way in the world that any of this voting is like makes any difference to anything. You know what I mean? It's definitely not there for us. They'll do exactly what they want to do, which is screw us over. So that's why we need to make sure that we're getting into the private trusts and private members associations and protect yourselves. I've got a lot of friends and everything that have been in the private for a long time, and that I've listened to and been educated by and learned from, and they've never paid any tax for years because they are a man or a woman living in the private. If you can sign as a person and you agree that you want to be a person, now you can be like living in the private. Say for instance, this one woman that I know who's setting up now a limited company. Now on the limited company, she's going to create a tax account for that corporation because it's corporation over here, but she still lives as a private woman and lives as a private woman and has a private woman income. Got nothing to do with HMRC or IRS or anyone else. You've got to know how to dip in and out of the private and the public, and how to act and how to stand your ground and how to talk to them. Okay. And so, you know, knowledge is power. So knowing how to do that, right? So moving out, right, of the actual realm of being a person, but you can create a corporation and work it to, if you wanted to, I'm just saying. All right. But still no. PAYE tax, obviously that's a difficult one to do because they're taking it off. But do you know what, right? It's not law that any company has to take tax from you from the PAYE account. You know that? But everyone thinks they have to do that now. So all these companies stand up and they immediately set you in PAYE because they think it's the law, and it's not. I'm not saying it's easy to stop it, right? But I would be doing it a question and an affidavit style to, like, you know, you stop taking the tax off of me, that I'll do it myself. So that's what I would be doing. You know, if you work for the government, you're screwed, because you've got no chance of fighting the government if you're on government wages. I mean, you know. Yeah, Dimeball's right. Lawful notice and demand, right? That's what we show. The lawful notice and demand, not legal. Okay, because we want to stand in law. Okay, so that's what LND stands for. Lawful notice and demand. All right. Okie dokie. What time is it there? 9 o'clock. Wow, I didn't expect to be on that long. You know, hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully, you know, put out some good information there. Unfortunately, Jamie, he was only going to come on for an hour anyway. We're going to try and do it later on. All right. But in the meantime, have a look at Mark Atwood's show that he's put up, like that I was on there earlier today. It was yesterday we did it, but he recorded it and put it out. All right. The recording of this will all be up there as well, and have a look at all those TR1 documents. Look at the private trust documents, and I will get the actual website ready very, very soon. All right, so that you can go on. You can just, if you want to get the private trust documents for yourself, and we will have the done for you side as well if you don't feel confident enough doing it for yourself. Either way, you know, I'm here to help. Right, and the whole thing was, like I say, you know, we obviously it's classed as a donation when you're actually going to, like, you know, get a hold of these things, because we live in the private as well. So we do an exchange of equity, all right, an equitable exchange, and it's like my sweat equity that I'm going to give to you, right, and in exchange, that's what it's all about. So I'm going to keep going on, right, and finding out more about this crypto stuff. These guys were millionaires in 2 months or something, so I was like, wow, got to try and, like, crack on with that bit. All right, so we will shoot. I hope you've enjoyed it. Take care, everyone. Lots of love. All right, look after yourselves. All right, and we will be seeing you again very, very soon. I'm down to Birmingham tomorrow. Okay, well, I'm driving down tomorrow, but on the Sunday we'll be at that event there. That's all my event on the Sunday, and then I'll have that big meeting on the Monday with everybody. See what's cracking on there. So look forward to that, and the next video will be going up. I've got a lot of stuff that I want to share out, and a lot of stuff I want to tell you and help you with. So anyway, have a great weekend. Okay, have a look after each other, look after yourself. Okay, lots of love. Take care, people, and we'll see you very soon. Okay, out we go. All right.